Okay, so you decided that you were going to go to the Ode to the Dawn Breeze Chronicle Wish banner, and you were going to make some wishes. And the thing that you're trying to get is Beacon of the Reed Sea, which just so happens to be the topic of today's video. So in this video, we're going to talk about this weapon's stats, what it does, and who it can be good for. Now, this is Dia's signature weapon, and as the rules of signature weapons, I have to put it on my Dia, which is a perfect happy coincidence because I love using Dia and she is one of my mains. Now, this weapon does get up crit rate, and its passive is after the character's elemental skill hits an opponent, their attack will be increased by 20% for 8 seconds. After the character takes damage, their attack will be increased by 20% for 8 seconds. The two aforementioned effects can be triggered even when the character is not on the field, and when not protected by a shield, the character's max HP will be increased by 32%. This is all at R1. Now, what does all of this mean? It means that it's perfect for a character like Dia, which, funny enough, it's her signature, right? So before we get into this first part, I just want to show the second part, which is the when not protected by a shield, the character's max HP will be increased by 32%. So we are going to look at Dia's current max HP, which is going to be 38,441. If we swap her weapon to another weapon, for example, the cardboard sword, and we go back and check, her HP is now 33,422. So if we equip back Beacon, we get the effect back. However, if we were to have a shield on Dia, we would lose that passive. We would not have that increase in HP. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we're going to trigger the first and second part of this passive. So her attack is 1,842. So now we're going to use her skill to trigger the first part, right? If we use it and we open it back up, now her attack is 2,002. That is the 20% increase. If we take damage while we wait on somebody to hit us, then you can see we open it back up. It is now 2,161. This is both passives that we have gotten from this weapon. So her attack has gone up by nearly 400, which is phenomenal because Dia partially scales off of attack. She partially scales on HP. So that's why this weapon is perfect for her. And she can really, really appreciate the crit rate. So that way, if you're building her with like Crimson or VG, you can have a fairly good split. Zucchini, do not look at my energy recharge. Don't look at my energy recharge. We don't talk about my energy recharge. So now I'm going to show the on-field indicator for the fact that you have these passives, right? So as you can see, I just used Dia's skill, and rotating around her is going to be this symbol, right? This gold symbol. I know it's a little hard to see against the sand, but you can still see it floating around her. If she then takes damage, which she has done already, then a second symbol will appear. When you have both symbols, it means that you're getting both attack passives from the weapon. If you don't use your skill or you don't take damage for a certain amount of time and you lose it, then it will only show one of those symbols floating around your on-field character, meaning you're getting one of those passives, not both. So this weapon does come with a nifty, I know that's an old person word, nifty way of seeing if you have both passives currently without having to constantly check it. So now that we've shown how this passive works, I want to talk a little bit more about the crit rate. So this crit rate is going to be phenomenal for a lot of different characters, as well as the attack passive is going to be phenomenal for a lot of different characters. I believe Dia is the only character that can take exceptionally good use of both of the passives, putting the HP and the attack to good use. But with that being said, we're going to look at some other characters that this weapon can be good on. First is going to be Eula. Now, Eula can very much appreciate any weapon that is going to get up her attack percent, but especially the crit rate. Eula is one of those characters where you want to invest everything you can into crit damage, and having a way to also get her crit rate is going to be phenomenal. So it's going to be a very, very good weapon for a character like Dia if you want to run her in a non-showcase way. Next is going to be Navia. Now, again, just like Eula and a lot of characters that we're going to talk about, Navia can take very good use of the crit rate main stat and the attack substats. Not so much the HP, but specifically, she wouldn't even be able to trigger the HP because you're going to have shields on all the time because of Navia, because Navia is Geo, right? So she will never really be able to trigger that max HP passive, but she will be able to trigger the attack passives. Next is going to be Beto, and I said this in the Wolf's Gravestone video. I believe that Beto's one of, if not her best weapon, is actually going to be Sacrificial Fragments, especially if you're building her with Emblem. Beto is so energy hungry, and you want to have her burst up as much as possible. Getting crit rate and attack would be phenomenal. She wouldn't necessarily be able to trigger the passive if you have her with Constellations because she creates a shield, but energy recharge is going to be more valuable on Beto than crit rate. You can build a decent crit split without having a crit weapon. Next is going to be Gaming, and this is going to be one of Gaming's best weapons because he is going to be taking damage from his skill, right? Gaming will be able to trigger both passives by using his skill and taking damage. He may not like the HP, it's not going to hurt him, but he's going to really appreciate the crit rate and the attack. Now, I do think that Serpent Spine might be a little bit better, but that's also just because I refuse to give Beacon to anybody that's not Dia. So I have Serpent Spine on him instead. Next, we don't talk about D-Luke on this channel, so let's just skip him. And then we're going to go to Noelle. Now, Noelle is one of those characters where you really want to build defense, so I think White Blind would be a better weapon for on-field damage Noelle, but having the crit rate and the attack can also be good for Noelle. There's going to be several better options for Noelle, but it's not like it would be horrible to put it on her. I do think White Blind would be better, though. Next is going to be Sayu. Sayu's healing is based off of her attack, so having another weapon that gets up crit rate and attack is going to be good for her. I do think that Wolf's Gravestone would be better because she would be doing more healing, but if you wanted to build Sayu to do damage versus more healing, then Beacon is going to be a great kind of mixture for crit rate and attack. Next is going to be Dory, and Dory can actually appreciate the HP. Well, building damage Dory with attack and crit rate and HP would be a very interesting way to do it. She can appreciate all three if you're building her to heal and do some damage as well. Then we're going to talk about Razor. Now, I do believe that one of, if not Razor's best weapons, one of them, especially like free to play, is going to be Rain Slasher. While you can put Beacon on him, he will appreciate the attack, he will appreciate the crit rate, but having EM on Razor is going to be more important in my opinion, so just stick with something like Rain Slasher instead. Last, we're going to have Kaveh. Now, I said in the last video that Kaveh would appreciate the Elemental Mastery, and I'm going to still agree with that. However, if you are going to be building him for more of a damage versus a bloom team, then having crit rate and attack on him wouldn't necessarily be bad, but I would still probably use something that's going to have EM versus attack. That would probably be better for Kaveh regardless. That is going to be it for this video. As always, if you do have any questions, you be sure to leave it down in the comments. Myself or somebody else will be sure to answer them, and I will see you in the next video.